thank you so much. And we have two sessions with David. One is today on relationship, and the next one would be next week on Thursday on parenting, right, David?
That's right.
Yeah, okay. So I wouldn't hold David anymore. I'll just pass on to him. So David, take away.
All right. Okay, well, thank you all for coming and joining and listening to me tonight. Still more people joining in, so we'll let them in. First thing is to question, why are you taking your time to join this talk? What do you want to learn, to gain? Why are you interested? So you have to know what you're coming for. It just helps you gain something. If you even have any reason other than purely the entertainment, or maybe you'll learn something new, that's fine too. Let me tell you just a little bit about what my credentials are, all right? I had 12 years with my partner, and it was 12 wonderful years. We never had one argument, never one fight, never angry. And we were together, well, the last 7 years after she took her redundancy, 24/7 for 7 years, traveled the world. And it was all laughing, playing, joking. It was fantastic. We never had one argument. It was amazing. So I have that as my credentials, as well as over 30 years talking to people all over the world and teaching and dealing with people with their relationships. I've helped hundreds, if not thousands, of people around the world. And this experience is far more than any certificate. So listen to what I have to say. I come from a different perspective. This is not about how to work on Tinder and any of these sort of things. This is about your personality. I just thought, people always say, well, then where's your partner now? She unfortunately passed away a few years ago. So that's why she's not with us now. But everything about relationships, like many things in life, in success, in business, and whatever, it's easy to get, reasonably easy, and much easier to destroy. So, and when things are hard to get, like a good relationship is actually quite hard to find the right person, but so easy to destroy it. Even people get married and they could be in love, and over time, things go wrong. They destroy it. So my work is really about what I call behavioral psychology, which applies to relationships, of course, in how do things go wrong? What really is the problem? And we've got to find the problem and find the cure so that we can actually maintain what we have. So tonight I'm going to talk to you about a few, let's say, little pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. And at the end, I'm going to bring it all together, and I will give you exercises and ways to apply what I've taught you so you could actually turn your life around tonight, pretty much. So just follow each little piece that I give you, and then we'll tie it all together at the end, and very practical ways to apply it right away. All right, so basically, relationships are all based on communication, right? We're going past that initial passion and sexual fire. We want the relationships that will last far beyond the initial honeymoon phase. It's all based on communication. How you receive and how you give, your words, your actions, determine how your relationships will go. Again, that's in your love relationship, your children, your parents, your work, everything. So you could have a relationship like these lions. I was in Africa last year, a wonderful time on safari. So a lot of these pictures are my own. Pretty much all of them are my own, I think. You could be hugging. It's amazing how affectionate they are. You could be at each other's throat, or, oops, there we go. Or you can just turn your backs to each other and walk away. All right? So what we're trying to get through is, why do we get into problems, all right? So what causes arguments? Now, I have to say, I'm not talking about anybody who is physically violent, right? This is not the type of work I'm dealing with. Okay. Something kind of going on there. I think somebody probably has unmuted their microphone. Yes. Maybe? Okay. Maybe that got better. So I'm not talking about anyone with physical violence. It is purely normal people who argue, and it's our fights and disagreements that get in the way, right? So what causes arguments? If we want to end them, we have to know what causes them. It's not what you don't know that gets you into trouble, but it's what you know for certain. That's not true. You're wrong. You're absolutely sure, but you are wrong. But you don't know you're wrong. You think you're right. And that's where we get into trouble. All right? Because when you think you know something, you subconsciously shut down and stop listening. I tell you a little story of two of my students. They were roommates. They were not a couple, but they shared the same house. And one day there was a boy and a girl, and the boy did something nice for the girl. And then while he was out one day, she left a note with a chocolate bar on his desk and put a Coca-Cola in the fridge for him. And the note said, "Thank you for the sweet thing you did for me. Here's something sweet to say thank you. And I put a Coke in the fridge for you." The girl had to go out. The boy came home while she was out. He saw the chocolate, the note, and then he sends her a text. He says, "Thanks for the chocolate." He says, "Oh, and I see you put a Coke in the fridge. Do you mind if I have it?" Like, what? You can't read 3 lines, 3 sentences? I said, but that's the truth, you see. How many times have you sent an email, sent a message, or received one, and you're going, what's wrong with this person? Why can't they just read simple little few lines of text? Because, and I asked the boy, he said, well, I saw the chocolate, I read thank you, so I figured I understood the whole note. That was the end of it. So when we think we know, we stop listening. And that is the problem with arguments, right? My success in life has always been that I know nothing. So I'm always listening, always open-minded, right? So this is the most important step to begin, is to remember that when you are certain that you know something, you may be wrong. Now, do we have any questions so far? You can text them in if you do have. You know, you can actually text in your questions at any time, and I'll see that, and then I'll answer it as soon as I feel the right moment, okay? So the next thing is, what is that? It's a sea sponge, but it's an analogy for your mind. Your mind, through the events of your life, stores your emotions. Then your emotions, which give your reactions, will affect your life, right? Because if you're happy, positive, everything is great, people will like you. If you're mean and nasty and angry, people will have a problem with you. So are you temperamental? Are you irritable? Or are you always calm? Okay. So we only have one tool to work with, and that's our mind. And that's what my work is about. Getting your mind to function in a way that it creates emotions which, when expressed, affect your life in a very positive way. So you don't get into the arguments which end up destroying your relationships. All right? So we need to perfect our mind by thinking and observing our own thoughts. Right? Now, if you are having an argument with someone, you right away are saying, "You don't understand me," right? You're yelling, "They don't understand." Now, if you do understand someone, you cannot argue with them because you understand them. You might disagree, but you will understand. You can't argue, right? So that's where we're going to, is an ability to truly understand the other person or anybody or yourself. And that way, there's not going to be arguments, but we can have positive discussions. Have you ever noticed, do you know the difference between a monologue and a dialogue? Oh, somebody else trying to get in. A monologue and a dialogue. Monologue is basically what I'm doing, one person talking to himself. And a dialogue is two people talking to themselves, right? Have you noticed in an argument? Observe people having an argument if you haven't watched yourself. And you'll notice that they're not talking about the same thing. So that's because they don't understand each other. Now, do you know what the definition of insanity is? Doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Now, how many people in this world do you think you might call insane? Maybe yourself too, right? So if you think you're fine, then why does your life go in circles? Why do you get the same events? If you're single, you go dating, and it always ends up the same. Or you are in a relationship and certain things happen, they always end up the same. Why do the same things happen? It's because your life going in circles, because you keep doing the same thing. And what we do generally is that we always think we understand the other person when we don't. All right. So if you think you're not, according to this definition, a little bit insane, the proof of the reality is in the evidence of the situation. Do things happen in a negative sense repetitively? Then you'll know if there's something you need to look at in yourself, right? Now, I'll give you one very important piece of information towards a good relationship. Relationships are a fictitious thing. They don't exist. There's no such thing as a relationship. I can see a boy, I can see a girl, I can see a child, an adult, an old person, I can see a car, a house. These things are real. But you can't show me a relationship. That doesn't exist. It's a fictitious thing. It's a thing that is in the imagination of two individual people. So a relationship is something we call two individuals who are sharing a life together. So you cannot work on the relationship. You have to work on yourself. When you make yourself somebody of great quality, alleviate a lot of the flaws you may have, then you can have a good relationship. So that's the first rule of relationships, is that it's a fictional concept that is created by two individual people choosing to spend their life together. And it's those two people who have to work on themselves. And the idea of relationship is we help each other work on themselves, but we don't try to change someone else. Okay? So taking responsibility for your life. Now, what is the most important thing for a human being? Think about it. What is the most important thing from birth to death throughout your entire life for every human being, race, religion, culture, country, anything? What is the most important thing for every human being? Companionship. What does a baby need when they're born? Why do they cry? Hold me. Cuddle me. What do little children do? They climb on top of you. They touch you, right? They want to hug you, kiss you. Little kids, nobody taught them these things. And then when you die, what is the old person's biggest fear, or any time in your life you're worried about dying? You're going alone. This is one of the big selling points of religion. Religion tells you when you die, you're going to be with your family again. How many people, they love their religion because the religion promises they're going to be with their loved ones again after they die. It gives them some comfort, because that's what we need the most. Every animal, every mammal, even in the sea, companionship. Now, Russia, they did a test They took 100 babies in one group, 100 in another group. And one group, they loved, they cuddled, they held them. The other group, they fed them, but they never cuddled them and touched them. The group they didn't touch, most of the babies died. In Russia, I guess they didn't care too much about people. They had enough. So they didn't care. And these babies died. So you have to think about what is the most important thing to you. Is it your career? So you'll be famous, so people will like you. So you'll be rich, so people will like you. So you want to look beautiful, so people will like you. You want a house, big car, people will admire you, they'll like you. There's something for you to think about. Everything you do, what is the purpose it serves? So if you want to be rich and famous and build a great career for the ultimate purpose of having companionship, a loving wife and family, you might reconsider where you put your time and effort. Something to think about. We have a question, why does relationship change people? I mean, you could fall in love with a person because of the way they are, but when they are in a relationship, they change. Good question, typical. They change because they were faking it in the beginning. We need to become more sincere. We need to be consistent, and we do that by knowing what really matters, which is companionship. Well-timed question, by the way, thank you. Companionship. Now, if I know that what drives me, what's most important to me, is companionship, I will change my actions, right? Because if you think about it, whatever is driving you will determine the way you behave. So if you're looking for quick sex, you'll behave one way. You'll be wonderful and sweet and a gentleman and all these great things. Get the sex, go, and then you can be an asshole. But if you know that you're looking for lifetime companionship, you won't be putting on any fake attitudes or any fake impressions. You'll be very sincere because you know, I'm going to be here for the rest of my life. I'd better be really who I am. And you will be. You'll be more comfortable. So companionship is what matters, not the distractions of the career and all of these things. Look at all these animals. They're all in couples. The zebras are a little family there. There's 3 of them. We even have a turtle on the back of a hippopotamus. It's our nature, the nature of creatures on this planet. Real success is when you know your real goal. Okay? Many people, when they come to my talks on business and success, because I teach on different things, relationships, parenting, business success, spiritual development, personal growth, so on. People want success. Success comes when you know your real goal and what's really driving you. So when you know the truth, you will behave differently. All right? So you're not succeeding in your goals because you've confused the need of companionship, which is why you're doing everything, with your career. You think it's fame. It's like people who want to get rich and they don't. I say, okay, simple question. Why do you want to be rich? So I can be rich. And then what are you going to do? I don't know. Do nothing. Well, that's why you're not getting rich. That's why you're not getting maybe the right relationship. Maybe you're having problems in your relationship because you don't know that the most important thing is to have someone in your life that loves you, that you love. When you get your priorities straight, it will change your behavior and it will change how you interact with people and how you feel about their behavior. But we're getting to explain a lot of things a little bit later on as we go through our talk, okay? So this is the other thing. Look around you and think about what matters most from birth to death, not just a little bit in the middle. I love this story. 2 old guys. One of them is married. One of them is in his 80s. He's still a bachelor, never married. And his friend says, Peter, tell me, why you never married? He says, I thought about it. I did. And I went looking for the perfect woman. And I found a lot of women, but One of them, oh, beautiful, oh, so beautiful, but stupid, like you can't believe. Another one was so smart, but lousy homemaker. She couldn't cook or do anything and so self-centered. Another one, oh, loving, affectionate, great cook, perfect, but ugly. Oh, I couldn't look at her. And then, one day I found the perfect woman. Smart, beautiful, great homemaker, loving, wonderful in every way. He said, why didn't you marry her? He said, she was looking for the perfect man. People come to me and they describe what they want in a partner. And one of the things they always say is, and I want them to accept me as I am. And I said, you're asking for a 10, but you're a 2.5. What do you mean accept you for who you are as you are? You don't want to change. You don't want to be good. You want perfection, but you're going to be just whatever you are, nothing great. This is not possible. So I'm not like this relationship gurus and all of this stuff. Oh, just think of the love you want. Describe the perfect person, this and that. No, I go the opposite. I said, what are you? Look at yourself. Are you worthy of the person you want? What have you done with your own personality, your own life? I had one client, I'll call her a client, not a student, because she wasn't serious. She wanted a man, rich, handsome, this, she described Prince Charming. And I said, okay, you want that, great. And he's going to buy, she wants to buy her a home and clothes and travel and this and that. Okay, great, fine. What are you going to give him in return for all these things you want him to give you? She says, I will let him love me. Seriously? What do you think you deserve? Right? So I have a different style, a different attitude. I'm here to slap you in the face a little bit and say, you want perfection, you have to deserve perfection. Okay? So if you want the 10, let's do this to become a 10. Now, I'll tell you something. It's not hard. It's so easy to be a 9, at least. It's really not difficult. And tonight, I'm going to give you the exercises and tell you all these little bits that I'm telling you make you, in comparison, a 9. And then you'll be worthy of that because you know what? There's not many 9s out there anyway. So I'm sure you'll get your match. Now we have another question here. Me and my husband work together in the same company. Some people say it would cost our relationship because we may end up not seeing the difference between being professional and husband and wife. How can we prevent that from happening? Well, you could just, a little bit what I was saying is you have to know what matters most. You have to do your best to be the best worker, the best employee. When I owned my companies, I always considered myself an employee of the company as well. And basically, if you're an employee and you don't do a good job, you get fired, you don't get paid. Well, if I'm the owner and I don't do a good job, my company goes bankrupt and I don't make money. So I'm just another employee. So you have to consider yourselves employees of the company and work diligently without arrogance, thinking you're the boss. And you have to know that your relationship and your business, which is to make money so you can have a good life, is all for the purpose of the love of your relationship, the love of each other. So when one of you makes a mistake or business goes bad, you have to remember that the money doesn't matter. What matters is we stick together and deal with this together. We will share what we have and we'll support and help each other wherever we need to be, because it's not the job, it's not the business, it's not the money. It's all those things are just ultimately, let's face it, most of our lives are totally futile. Because you work in a factory, you work in a store, you do your job. Are you really as an individual that vital to the function of this world? Not really, because there's a lot of other people who would be happy for your job right now, especially. So all of these things we do are to provide us the money we need to live, to pass time. And you always bear in mind that the most and only thing that matters to me is love, is having that companion and that love. Nothing else matters. All right. Concept of dominance in a relationship. Somebody is asking, what do you think about the concept of dominance? Let's get to that later. If I don't answer you at the end, ask it again, okay? Because that doesn't fit with where we are. All right, next step, emotional freedom. Now, this puts you at easily an 8 from wherever you are. Emotional freedom is freedom from feeling hurt, insulted, attacked, manipulated, pain, because those feelings make you, as you know, temperamental, irrational, irritating, delicate, hypersensitive. So you go on a date, first date, and I don't know, you spill the glass of water and you freak out, you know, or the waiter brings the order and the food is wrong and you go, you stupid moron, how can you be mad? Who wants a second date with someone like that? Right? So what about, you know, texting? Now, of course, with the COVID, we can't get out and meet people. So a lot of dating is being done by texting. And I can guarantee you, if you text long enough, something will happen that there will be a misinterpretation and you'll get in a fight and it'll be over before you even begin. I'm sure everybody knows this. Anyone who's dated by texting or doing too much texting. So if you're easily hurt or insulted, what we call in Canada, high maintenance, it's too difficult. I have to watch every word I'm saying because I never know one little word is going to make you blow up. Reminds me of my brother. He was in his late 20s. His wife was in her early 20s. They were religious, so they were both virgins. So you can imagine what the wedding night was like, right? Anyhow, the wedding, it went all night till like 3 in the morning. So 3 in the morning at the party till they get home or the hotel for their honeymoon night. Okay. Anyhow, the next day, what happens? He said, we're talking, we're in the afternoon, we're talking, and she starts crying. She starts crying, hysterical crying. And he's saying, what happened? What happened? It took 2 hours to calm her down, to explain what happened. And she said, I was talking and you yawned. You're bored with me. You don't love me. He said, from then on, I couldn't yawn, never mind say anything. Needless to say, they ended up divorced. So if you do not have emotional freedom, and by the way, I'm going to tell you how to get it. Just, you know, because I know people say, oh, great concept, but how am I going to do it? I always, some of my students actually are on this talk tonight. They can tell you I always follow through with practical ways to apply everything. Emotional freedom, you do not become all these delicate things that push people away, right? So you don't want to push someone away. When you find that good person, you want to be so good they hang on. They don't want to lose you. And when you're two good people who don't want to lose each other, you will find that your behavior changes. You will be more attentive to what you're doing. You will be more apologetic if you make a mistake. You'll be more aware of your actions, not to do things wrong. You will be more thoughtful to consider little romantic thoughts, like when you're out on your own and you see a flower or a chocolate bar, you just buy it for your partner and bring it home. Just to say, here's a little something I was thinking of you, right? If you change to please the other, isn't that faking? It's only faking if you're faking. Okay? It's not faking if you're sincere. And that's my point, is that we need to become, you as an individual, need to become someone who is free emotionally. And then you won't be faking because you'll have spontaneously loving emotions. Right? Emotions, people say it's natural to be angry, it's normal to fight, it's normal to have negative emotions. No, it's not. That's not true. It's only true because you're a 2.5. Look, a coin has two sides. A coin has three because the edge is a third side. But let's say it has two sides. You're either positive or you're negative. And there's nothing in the universe, no universal law that says the coin has to keep flipping over. So when we attain emotional freedom, we take all the negative and we flip it over and we have positive emotions all the time. You'll be sad, you'll have problems, you'll get angry. Of course, it's natural, but it won't be like it is now. So that's what we're getting to. So if you go on a date and the person freaks out, like I said before, you don't want a second date. But if you go on a date and whatever happens, you're always calm. You're peaceful. You deal with it. No problem. They're going to say, oh, I like this guy. Oh, she's nice. Wow, she's easy to be with. Now, if you're going to be with someone for the next 20, 30, 40, 100 years, God willing, how long your relationship should last, don't you want to be with someone and you want to be yourself, easygoing, where nothing upsets you and makes you freak out in these ways? Okay, let's go to now how to do that. All right, how do we attain that? Nature is a great teacher. So we're talking about emotional freedom. That makes you super powerful, right? Because no one can manipulate you. No one can get you angry, make you lose your temper, make you freak out. That's power. So let's try to emulate the most powerful force in nature within the atmosphere of our planet. Any guesses what that is? Most powerful force. Think about emotional freedom, right? Can't be hurt, can't be manipulated. It's a cloud. A cloud. Look at clouds, totally versatile. They're changing shape all the time. They're beautiful white puffy clouds. They're floating here and there. You cannot catch a cloud. You cannot destroy the cloud. You cannot make the cloud. And the most important thing about a cloud, when an airplane flies through, it goes right through the cloud and it's beautiful. But most humans are mountains. I am a lawyer. I am a doctor. I am important. I am a father. I am a mother. I am this. I am that. I am me. I'm a Chinese. I'm an Indian. My mother's from India, so I can tell you, I'm an Indian. I am knowing. I'm your mother. You will do what I am telling you. Right. No, you know what? Everyone wants to be something, their ego. But then what happens when the plane flies into a mountain? Boof, everybody dies. Even the mountain gets hurt. So what we want is to become a cloud, okay? Now a cloud can also go black, make thunder, make lightning, make rain, make floods. It can do everything, right? It can blot out the sun. And this is where it is the most powerful force in nature, because a cloud can turn day to night, right? I mean, you see those great thunderstorms? In the Midwest America, they have when the tornadoes come. I used to live in Denver, Colorado, and it became black like night. And that means a tornado is coming. The clouds become so thick. And that was middle of the day, of course, not nighttime. So clouds can be anything, and they can be the combination of beautiful, dark, light, everything. Totally versatile. All right? So we want to become a cloud. and not a mountain, which means becoming more flexible, more open-minded, remembering that you don't know everything, because mountains are fixed, they know. But when you know that you don't know anything for certain, you're more flowing, more versatile, like the cloud. All right? Opinions, fixed opinions are a poison. They make you a mountain. When we're a cloud, we can let anybody say anything they want, like the plane, it goes right through us. We are never upset or insulted because they go right through us. They can't hurt us. But the caveat is, being a cloud doesn't mean you have the right to be thunder and lightning and strike other people down, because then that's faking it. That's not acceptable, because then you won't be a cloud. You have to behave impeccably, but allowing other people to behave how they want, which brings us to the next topic, boundaries. That's a very common thing. People like boundaries. You cannot say this to me. You cannot tell me to do that. You can blah, blah, blah. Everybody is making other people behave a certain way, how they treat them. You know the problem with this? You don't want to have to behave how the other one wants you to behave. You want the freedom to speak, the freedom to think, the freedom to do whatever you want. And then you go around telling other people what they should do, how they should treat you. This is a mountain. Boundaries of this nature, and again, we're only talking verbal, we're not talking physical. Physical, totally different thing. Somebody attacks you, you give it right back, in my opinion. But anyway, as appropriate. Boundaries put you in a bubble. It's like living in a glass house in an earthquake zone. It's not a wise thing. You're guaranteed to have it crash down and cut you to shreds eventually. This is a guarantee. So being overly sensitive, political correctness, creates a fear that you're unapproachable. In America, if a man, a boss, says the wrong word to a female employee, next thing, he's fired, he's in jail, he gets sued. Yeah, if I say, you look beautiful today, every woman wants to hear they look beautiful. But if a male boss says it to a female subordinate in America, she can put the man in jail. And for sure he loses his job just for paying her a compliment. Because of boundaries, you can't say that to me. So, in order to become a cloud and have emotional freedom, you cannot have boundaries. You have to let people say and think what they want for the reason that you would like to be free to say and think what you want. Now I know, people always complaining, oh, no, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. It's inappropriate, blah, blah, blah. Okay. But remember, what we're trying to do is make ourselves into a 10, not change anybody else. Because if you want that great relationship and you want it to last, you need to be worthy of it. So again, with all I'm talking about now, it is about making you that 10. Because the most important thing in your life is companionship. These bubbles are just like now, social distancing. This is the most destructive thing they could have done to humanity. Because now we're even more separate. Facebook was the beginning of the end with social media. Because no one is talking. We're only on Facebook. Everything is on Facebook. I had one student. He says, you know, I have 1,200 and something friends on Facebook. I don't have one real friend in person. All of these things are separating us. And that's where our stress is coming from. Because human need companionship, physical companionship. So we have to be careful. Now, how do we deal with this? All right. So let's talk about it in one fellow asked me about, a few people asked me about how to deal with racism. All right. Racism, if you're subject to racism is stupid. I think anyone except a racist is going to agree racism is stupid. Okay. So if someone is racist towards me, and it's only verbal again, or their opinion, they are stupid. Why would I care what a stupid person thinks? Be racist. You have the right to be racist. I have the right to be racist against racists. I have the right to think you're stupid. So everyone has that right. When you realize that everyone has the right to be whatever they want to be, because that's the only way you have the right to be the way you want to be, you're now getting freedom. You're coming to be a cloud. And it gets better. I give you even better ways to apply this soon. So we don't want to put ourselves in bubbles by separating, by creating rules of boundaries, all right? And that makes you difficult to be with, more unapproachable, all right? There's just a question, let me read it. If you are in a relationship and you work to make yourself a 10, how would it affect a relationship if your partner isn't willing to work on himself? Himself, okay, I thought it would be a girl who'd ask that, yet feels insecure for having a partner who is a 10. Well, that depends on how you present yourself. And again, this goes with the boundaries and political correctness and things. If somebody is being racist or whatever, and you say, you bloody idiotic, arrogant asshole, you are so pathetic, and I am so much better than you. I am so much better than you, you useless, racist idiot. Okay? That is not correct. No. Being a 10 includes being humble. It includes being compassionate and accepting and understanding. So this is going to be answered as we progress to the next segment of our talk, all right? But basically, we have to let everyone be who they are. Now, if you raise yourself up to an 8, a 9, and your partner doesn't want to change and he wants to stay at 2, you have a choice. You can leave and look for someone better. You can just be good yourself and accepting them, and maybe they'll get the picture that they need to improve by you letting them know in a polite way, a gentle way. Different ways to deal with it. I think this is something that we need a private one-on-one session or another talk for. All right, now let's go on to this. Now we're getting to the real meat of the technique of how you're going to change. Arguments is one side of the coin, communication is the other. Because the argument's a dialogue, two people talking to themselves, right? Communication is a true interaction. Talk to each other. So what's an argument? And you all know it when you're in an argument. You don't understand. And the other one is saying, I understand you perfectly. You don't understand me. And you say, no, I understand you. You don't know. Blah, blah, blah. And off we go, fighting, fighting, fighting. When someone thinks they understand you, you know, because you know what you're thinking. You know if they do or they do not. And if they do not, that's really frustrating. Now, think about sometimes that you got really angry, perhaps driving in traffic. You're limited. It's frustrating, isn't it? And that frustration builds up to anger. So, if we get frustrated, we will get angry and we'll end up in a fight. So, if you can know that you don't know and you truly try to ask questions, to understand what your partner is feeling and talking about, what's driving them, you won't be frustrated, they won't be frustrated. No argument. When I was in Nepal, a Nepalese friend I had there, he used to work in Germany. He said, you know the problem, Westerners, you get divorced so much. You know why? He said, little thing happen, you keep it inside. Little thing, keep it inside. Little thing, keep it inside. He says, until it builds up so much, a little thing, and it's a volcano, and you divorce. He says, with me and my wife, something happens, I yell, I scream, I break a dish, and it's over. And we love each other. So eliminate the frustration of not understanding each other And you will eliminate most of your arguments. Now you can imagine a simple little thing. A life together where you argue every day, or a life together where you don't argue. I can tell you, I had 12 wonderful years with her. Such a loss that she passed away, but incredible. And here I am, when, you know, I'm dealing with people coming to me with their relationship problems. We fight so much, I was like, you know, it's a funny thing, we never fight. And we're always affectionate, we're constantly holding hands, always touching. Every night in bed, we're always together cuddling. Because we never fight. Because when, and she had become ill, and she was ill, if she was, you know, something wrong, I understand. When I had some big financial troubles, she understood. If I'm grumpy, she make me a tea, a lovely dinner, hug or cuddle, something like that. All right? Understanding. Okay. So this is it. And we're going to get soon how to understand. Right? So that's something to think about right now, where how often you get angry, get frustrated, or you cause someone to get frustrated. Do you understand what's really going on? Okay. So here we go. Now's the big answers. Words have no innate value. Words that are offensive, insulting, intimidating, rude, arrogant. Words have no value. They don't actually mean things. And there's so much talk. Words are powerful. Words have meaning. Words are powerful, right? I'm saying no. Oh, people in the waiting room. There we go. Sorry, I didn't read the questions and watching this that people wanted to join. So for the people who just joined in late, you know, you can ask for a copy of the recording of the talk so that you can get the whole thing after, at the end. So I say, quite contrary, which I'm contrary about the concept of boundaries. I'm also contrary about the thing that the concept that words have meaning, words have power. I say they have no power whatsoever, no innate value whatsoever. Et je peux le prouver parce que si je parle français et je dis que toi, tu es une grande vache, tu es tout entièrement fou, il n'y a pas de chance en vie que tu vas être un succès. Impossible. Et c'est vrai, il n'y a pas de chance. Mais avec un sourire, tout est bon. Vous pensez que c'est, ah, super. Right? Isn't that lovely? Didn't I say nice things? Did anyone get upset, assuming you didn't speak French? Of course, if I said, you're all a bunch of big fat cows, you are completely crazy, stupid beyond belief, and there is not a chance in the world that you will ever be a success at anything. You're all totally hopeless. But if I say it with a smile, you'll think it's beautiful. Huh? Words have no meaning, none whatsoever. So it's only how you interpret it. If you are blind and deaf, and I stand behind you, cursing you, waving my hands, you're going to know? No, you're not going to know. You're not going to get upset. You're not going to have a reaction. So this is it. Words have no meaning. It's only how you interpret them and how we hang on to them. It's like the two monks walking on the path, and there was this, it had rained, and there was this huge big muddy path in the muddy patch in the path, and there was this beautiful young woman in a long dress and beautiful shoes standing there trying to figure out how's she going to cross without getting dirty. And as the monks approached, they knew what was going on with the girl. So one of them, he just picked her up, carried her across, put her down. Girl went this way, monks went that way. Not a word was spoken. Go finish. At the evening, after the evening meal, the one monk explodes. How could you do that? We're not supposed to look at women. How dare you pick her up and carry her and touch her? How could you do that? Where are your vows? And he said, listen, I put her down at the other side of the path. Why are you still carrying her? Right? How do we interpret things? How do we hang on to things? It's all in your mind. So words are a knife put on the table. You can leave it there. And how you do it is knowing that everybody is in pain, right? We're all suffering some pain or another. And so when someone is angry at you, they are venting their pain at whatever it is. So what I used to teach my employees in my shops, when a customer is yelling at you, just think, what happened to him this morning? I don't know. Did he lose his job? Did he have a car accident? Did the doctor say he has cancer? Is his wife or her husband having an affair? You don't know. But if any of those things happen to you, how would you behave today? Wouldn't you yell at anybody randomly? Of course. It's not about you. It's a knife they put on the table. You can leave it there. You can. But you know, everybody loves drama, self-pity. So you pick up that knife and stick it in your own heart. Ah, he's attacking me. No, 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 it's not about you. Everybody's in pain and they're just venting. You happen to be the one there. If your boss is yelling at you because you messed up, yeah, he's right to yell at you because you messed up. But what is he really yelling at? He's scared of losing his job because he didn't do a good job managing you. He's scared he won't get his bonus because you didn't perform. And he's the one who has to take a responsibility. So if you remember that, every attack, every vent of anger, be it at work, be it in the shop, be it anywhere, and especially with your spouse, is because they're in pain and scared of something else. And it just so happened that has found a place to be vented and expressed at you. But if you live with boundaries, that knife bursts the bubble, you come crashing to the ground, your glass house is shattered, and you're all cut to pieces. No boundaries. I'm a cloud. I understand you're in pain and you are venting. I will accept it. Please, give me more. With compassion and love and understanding, give me. Keep going. Yell more. Yell louder. I understand. And you know why I understand? Because I did the same thing. Didn't you? We all did. That's why I said we have to know ourself. We have to work on ourself. There's no such thing as a relationship to work on. Because when you have two tens, you have 1,000 together. You have great power. Everything works. Because, okay, 10 times 10 is 100, but multiplication factor. Humans love drama. So they like to pick up that knife. All right. So if you think of any relationship you had, what would it be like without the arguments? What would it be like if you were understood? If your pain was received with compassion because they understand their pain. It happens that a friend of mine now, his wife has the same disease that my late wife had. And he said, I know I can talk to you because you're the only one who really knows what I'm going through. So you see, we need to know because it's easy. You can understand the pain of the job. Now, this takes a long time to build, right? But how quick it is to destroy. How long does it take to build your reputation? How long does it take to build a loving relationship with trust? And how quickly you can destroy that. So we have to be careful not to destroy through our being temperamental and delicate and thinking we know, all right? Nothing is good or bad, but thinking makes it so. It's up to you. No matter what the words are, no matter what the actions are, it's up to you how you take it. So here's your exercise. Observe yourself attacking. Learn the truth about human nature and your nature. Watch yourself when you are angry. And remember what I said, your mind Learn how your mind and your emotions work by observing your own thoughts and actions. Observe when you are angry, or go back to think about times you were angry, times you yelled at someone that you knew was inappropriate. And consider, was it right? Why did you do that? What made you go crazy? So whenever you feel fear, conflict, anger, insecurity, remember, they don't mean to attack you personally. They're in pain about something, and you are misinterpreting the situation. So in summary, here you go. It's never about you personally. You don't listen because you think you know. Companionship is everything. That's it. Life is all about companionship. Words have no innate value other than your interpretation, and the boundaries put you in a bubble. All right? So this is basically enough to make you change your life. I do give longer courses and individual talks. I don't care, 1, 2, 3, 100, 400, 500 people. I'm happy to continue to take this further, but I think you have enough to begin working on changing your life here. But please, this is what I love doing, helping people have happiness. Because what if reincarnation is true and I'm reborn to you or your children? I'd rather you guys are 10s. Because I would like my next parents, if I have to be reborn again, to be 10s. All right? So this is totally selfish, my work. All right. Now let me leave you with a couple of funny stories. One of my students, he was a photographer. And one day his little 6-year-old son put his cameras in a bucket of water. And he said, oh my God, what did you do? Why did you do that? He says, I want to help Daddy. I washed his cameras. His intentions were good. What can you do? He's 6 years old. And here's one of my events in India a long time ago. I was in a town, small town. I wanted to buy a train ticket for the next day to go to a next town as I was traveling. So I go to the train station. I say, I want a ticket to go here, and I'd like to reserve the seat. He says, no need, sir, no need. You come tomorrow. Many train, many seat on many train. Tomorrow, every day there is train. You come tomorrow by ticket. I said, no, please, I would like to reserve it because I'd feel more comfortable if I had my ticket and blah, I'm a tourist. No, 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 sir, you come tomorrow. Many train, many seat tomorrow. Every day there is train, go there. You come tomorrow, get ticket. I said, please, okay. Goes back and forth, back and forth. There's no way. He's not giving me my ticket. Next day, booked the next hotel in the next town, checked out of here, have my bag, go. Same guy at the train station. Can I have a ticket? He says, no, sir. No train, sir. Excuse me? I want a ticket. I need to go there. He says, no, sir, no train going there today, sir. You come tomorrow. Tomorrow is train. I said, but yesterday you told me there would be a train. I need to go. I'm ready to go. He says, sir, I know I told you that, but no train. Today, this day of week, there is never train. It's only second day of week. Tomorrow you come back. Tomorrow there is train. I said, but you told me there would be, you know, traveling around India on your own as a young guy is scary. And I'm freaking out. I'm going crazy. I really lose my cool long before I was a cloud, okay? I was, 28 years old? And I said, why? Why? If you knew there would not be a train today, why did you tell me there would be? He said, I did not want to get you upset. Good intention, gone very wrong. So just remember that too. A lot of times, if you understand, especially, you know, if you have kids, I don't have any kids, but I deal with enough people. My employees were difficult enough in my businesses. So as long as you understand they were sincere, the intentions were good, you understand them, you can deal with it. So there's the website, relationshipcoachonline.com. And you can email me and send me a message. And then if you would like, we can do more in-depth courses or one-on-one or whatever you would like. Just feel free. I live in Penang. I'm here now for quite a while, of course. We're locked in. So thank you very much. And I guess I turn it over to Fa, or anybody have any questions?
Yeah, thank you, David. Let's open up for questions. You are welcome to unmute yourselves and do ask questions directly to David. Okay, since no one's asking anything yet, perhaps I should ask you, David, you know, back to the question I asked you about dominance.
About which? Dominance? That was you?
Yes. About in a
Here we are.
relationship.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you think about the concept of dominance in a relationship?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, what do you mean by dominance?
In the Asian culture, it's always like, you know, man is the leader, and, you know, when the woman is trying to make herself an 8 or a 9 or a 9.9, like in my case, you know, so
Yeah.
that affects, you know, most men. So they feel insecure. Of course, now we are talking about working on ourselves and not our partner, because it's their job to work on themselves. But then, you know, we want to be in a relationship because we have invested our time and our energy and everything into the relationship, and also emotionally invested. But, you know, how do we save the relationship if our partner is feeling insecure because of our effort into making ourselves into 10?
Okay. Just so you understand, I am Eastern. My mother's from India, my father's from Iraq. And I'm very familiar with the situation you're describing. The first thing is to understand, why is he insecure? Off the top, we could say generally, he's going to be insecure because if you get better, he knows he's not good enough and you will leave him. So you would try a lot of different things, but the first thing would be is to give him the comfort and security that you're not going to leave him, that you will be there for him. So you can continue to support him with his needs and understanding. Do not criticize him. Do not make him feel inferior in any way. Now, when you're perfecting your own being, that doesn't mean you need to, you know, put it on your sleeve, show it off, look how good I am. Look what I did, and you didn't do that. So that's a big mistake many people make, is to want recognition for what they're doing, but in that, you're effectively putting other people down by saying, I'm better than you. So the most important quality to develop in becoming that 10 is compassion. And then it's understanding. Then it's selflessness. So if we're not working on those qualities, we're not actually raising our level to an overall 10. Sometimes people make themselves a 10 in their career or a 10 at cooking, but not at affection or, you know, different aspects. So if something is not right with the other person, I would say that you need to look at what you are doing to make them uncomfortable, and then adapt yourself, because that again is making yourself a better person. That's working on making that overall 10. So there's that. And then the idea of dominance, where I'm the man. My father is I would say, you will respect me because I am your father. And I'm saying, no, because I'm born in Canada. I have a little bit more of an open mind. I said, I will respect you if you deserve respect. And that is a cultural thing where each individual has to decide, are they going to stay in a culture that's 100 years old or from 100 years back in time, or do they want to move up to the modern world? So yeah, you're faced with if he wants to grow with you or not. And if not, if that's causing you too much distress, then maybe it is right to move. Because I've had one couple, they came to me, they were old students for a long time. I knew them many years, and they were having problems in their marriage. Do you know what I said? Divorce. I told them the best for you is split up. which they did. And now they both have wonderful relationships with other people. So yeah, I'm sorry. I hope that sort of gave you a kind of answer. I hope. A good one? No?
Okay. Yeah, thank you. How about the rest? Any questions? It need not be your own question, which has something to do with your own personal life. Could, you know, even be, could be asking for a good friend, or, you know, for anyone, or even a general question. Because learning about relationship is a skill, right? Because our life is based on relationships, not only with our, you know, partner, but then also with our parents, our friends, our children. And we can use whatever the theory that David has shared with us today with whatever, you know, kind of relationship that we have.
I guess I'm too good a speaker. I answered everything so clearly.
Well, if we don't have any question,
It was
then
it was very nice. Yeah.
no. Thank you, Nara.
You're welcome.
Okay. Oh, Nara's gone. All right. Okay.
Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to type my email address. So if any one of you would like to have a the recording, please do email me. Yeah.
Okay. Here's one question. So difficult to not put meaning to words. Yes, it may be difficult, but you have to do it anyway. But that's, you're saying especially when it's hurtful. Yes, it's hurtful because right now you're delicate, because that's how your life and the world has made you to become. We're talking about changing. Now, next week, the talk on parenting isn't really just for parenting. It's about the adult that you've become through the parenting you had. So even if you don't have children or you're not interested in the parenting talk, it still would be very good for you to join in that one, because it continues on a lot of the things that I've said tonight about why it's difficult to change, why you are delicate, why you are the way you are, and how to become different. All right. You just the email you put at Penang Pack, but you didn't say dot, like .com,
Oh,
.net, .what.
sorry, I forgot. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's difficult, but there's a great Indian saying, it may be difficult, but you have to do it anyway. Yeah. You know, how long did it take to learn to ride a bike or drive a car or fly an airplane, which took me only 3 months. I was very quick at learning to fly. But
okay, David.
Yeah.
Okay, you keep on doing the Indian accent. How about doing the Iraqi accent?
If you want Iraq, like my father, this is also okay. I can be doing for you this too. We can do Iraqi accent. It is very, very simple for me because I am to be growing up. I'm growing up with this accent. Is that good?
Okay, all right. Okay, we have a question.
Yes. How would you advise someone who has been pressured to engage in a relationship or probably marriage due to age? My parents were in arranged marriage, by the way. Yes. Look, I left my home when I was 16. I've been buying my own clothes and taking care of myself since 12. At 16, I moved out. I was fully independent. I had to make my life on my own. My father used to beat me all the time for no reason. And then I think I was about 15. He was taking a whack at me, and I just put my arm up and blocked him and said, no more, because I finally was big enough. And that's basically it. You have to stand up and say, no more. And if it means I need to go out on my own and have my own life, it may be difficult, but I have the right to have a life. This is a very important part in the parenting talk. I'll just sort of it because it answers your question. The slides are much more fun, but when parents have a child, are you as parents, and you as a child have to think of this about your parents, are they slave breeders? Were they breeding a servant and slave? Or do we have the rights that God gave each of us? Doesn't matter if you're religious or what religion, it's the same for everybody. Each as an individual, we have the right to be an individual. And that is the way. Now, what is the purpose of a parent having a child? If I'm going back 10,000 years, evolution. Okay, let's remove religion and let's take nature. Nature is evolving. Creatures evolve. So in human society, we must evolve, which means that every generation must be better than the previous one. And so if you are being pressured to be worthless because you're a woman or in your culture, that is going against evolution. And it is trying to hold on to a very ancient way of doing things, which is not progressive, because the world is changing. Now, if you are, let's say, over 40, over 50 years old, do you remember what toys you played with? It wasn't an iPhone, was it? The world is super different now, and we need to adapt to this world. We weren't flying all over the place easily enough. We didn't have the internet talking to people all over the world. The world is different. We have to adapt. And so it is difficult, but you need the strength to take the power that God gave you to be an individual human being and make yourself into what you would like to give other people so that they have a better life, because you can only give what you are. So if you allow yourself to be pressured and manipulated like a slave, then you will just make future generations slaves. So with that inspiration, which has driven me, what drove me through all the things I've gone through is I'm thinking of the rest of humanity, future generations. If I can't do this for me, I'm useless to them. And that means the world just goes downhill. So I hope you think of it that way. Adapt to today's world. Very difficult because we're in a major transition of technology in the world and generations. How about people who are desperate to get into a relationship because of the time factor? Well, you know what happens when you're running and you don't watch where you're going is you usually trip and fall and hit your head. So if you really want a relationship, I would love a relationship. I'd love to find someone now. I'm looking for that 10. Okay, we can discuss that another time. But if you're desperate, then you have to look back at what went wrong in the other ones from a different perspective of what did you do to push the guys away. Only, of course, review that with guys that were worthy of being with. Guys that were assholes, selfish, just wanted a one-night stand, who cares? Don't think about it. But a decent man, any decent man you have ever met, think of what you did. Were you too temperamental? Were you too demanding? Were you not giving and sharing enough? Were you not open? Were you having boundaries? So if you think about those things, you can start to work. If you're desperate to get a relationship, then be desperate to change yourself, to make yourself the woman or the man that everybody would want to be with. So let that desperation fuel you, like Gandhi in India. My grandfather knew Gandhi, so I get firsthand information about the man. Gandhi said, I'm a very angry man, but I've learned to use my anger in a way that fuels me to endure all the suffering I must endure. So use your desperation to fuel you to change quickly and significantly to become the woman or the man that somebody would want to be with. Don't let it cause fear and panic. Let it cause power. That's it for me. I mean, I had to go 3 days with no food at one point because I had no money. I started with nothing. I had no education, no family, nothing. And I was an angry young man. But you know, I was self-made millionaire and I owned 8 companies by 25 years old. I retired at 28 because I was so angry. And I used that anger to work so hard and save and build up so I could buy my freedom. Okay. I hope
Thank
that
you,
answers
David.
those.
Yeah,
Welcome.
I think that sums up our program and our session for today. Thank you, everyone, for making your time to join us today. And hopefully we'll see all of you, all 20 of you, next week. David is going to come on Thursday with another topic, parenting, like how he explained just now. It seems fascinating, and yeah, could be a skill, a new